windows being smashed, massive crowds in downtown Seattle. Things are heating up as protesters converge on downtown streets. KOMO's Hannah Scott is live with details.
As we got to Seneca and 4th Avenue here at this Wells Fargo, someone tossed something in through the window. The entire front window of this Wells Fargo is smashed.
Do you want to say why you broke the window? I won't use your name.
Sure, because the court system hasn't done anything for anyone, ever. It's just another system of control. It's just another way to keep us down. Keep us from expressing our free will, expressing our free ideas. They set us sit in jail for petty-ass crimes.
Some of the folks in the march are upset you guys broke windows, so you kind of messed up their chi. What do you say?
Listen, you do your own thing and I do my own thing. We're all in the same boat. We're all trying to bring trains. You don't have to be violent. Please get that out of my face. Please get that out of my face.
Sorry.
Please get that out of my face.
No pictures.
Right now, I want to get to KOMO's Ian Sterling, who is also downtown from a different perspective covering things. Ian, what can you fill us in with?
Well, guys, here at the federal courthouse, just as I pulled up, dozens, and I mean dozens of Homeland Security SUVs zoomed up. People jumped out. There's U.S. Marshals out in front here. I hear them talking about securing the front of this courthouse so that nobody can gain access by breaking the big, plate glass windows that are out front here. There's guys with assault rifles, a lot of guys dressed in riot gear with what looks to be guns capable of firing tear gas grenades, that type of stuff. So a massive security presence at the U.S. federal courthouse in downtown Seattle.
Corey in Seattle, who says he was in the march. What can you tell us, Corey?
We walked around the backside of the old courthouse, and we saw about a dozen, maybe 15 or so folks just jumping up in there, smashing windows, and there's paint everywhere. And they threw like a smoke bomb or a tear gas bomb of some kind because we could feel the irritants in our throats as we were walking out of there.
Within the last few minutes, various protesters have been getting into a heated and at times physical exchange, some shoving, throwing of drinks. Certainly there is some tension here in the crowd.
Going to go to KOMO's Joel Moreno. In fact, Joel, didn't you get hit with something?
Yeah, Ken, unfortunately I did. We followed the march that was started at Westlake. Pretty large group, a couple hundred people wanted to march through the streets, but in the center of that parade group was what I would call a fringe element dressed in black, probably about 50 or so people. And we just started getting pelted with paint bombs. From there, it just escalated. I guess rocks came out next, storefronts started getting smashed. We could hear the crack of glass up the street. When one of those, one-story glass panes breaks, it makes a lot of noise in the canyons of these high-rises.
Right now, we're going to cut over and talk with KOMO's Lindsay Cohen, who's downtown covering all this. How are you, Lindsay?
It's extremely chaotic. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to step on over to the side so I can hear you a little bit better. I can tell you, Ken, things have died down dramatically since we spoke to you last. It appears as though the roving crowd of people who were creating this destruction have dispersed.
You could just say all hell's broken loose in downtown Seattle as the May Day march and demonstration turned violent today. We begin with KOMO's Hannah Scott. She's live at Westlake Park with the very latest.
All right, Jane. Well, about 300 Occupy protesters took off for the march through downtown. It was supposed to be peaceful, but somewhere along the way, anarchists started smashing windows. A Wells Fargo window was smashed out in the front.
Yeah, Wells Fargo branch at 4th and Seneca had the windows broken. I've just got off the phone with Wells Fargo spokesperson who says they are now closing all the downtown Seattle branches.
And now joining us live on the KOMO Newsline is Tom Glasgow. Tom, you're down in the thick of it. What's going on?
Captain Joe Kessler of the Seattle Police Department. Captain, your thoughts in the wake of the incidents that took place on 5th Avenue earlier. Are there any concerns about the group that caused the problem earlier reorganizing and attempting to do the same at some point later today?
Well, we've reorganized also, but we're prepared for whatever we need to do.
Big news from that news conference is the mayor will sign, as soon as the news conference is done, an executive order, an emergency order to give Seattle police the authority to confiscate items that could be used as weapons for destruction today.
The First Amendment uses of 5-foot-long, 3-inch rod sticks is outweighed today by our desire to preserve public safety and confiscate weapons.
We talked to a man named John not that long ago. He's visiting Seattle from Vancouver, BC. He told us he is, quite frustrated because police stood by while protesters smashed his car window today.
To say the least, it's not just them though, but like I've got people walking up and down who are quote unquote not part of the movement, and they're just being total asses. Like, I don't know why everyone's wanting pictures of my car. I don't know why, like, they got to mouth off at me and tell me to go back to Canada, hoser. This is a real welcome to Seattle.
There were problems all across the country today. ABC Stephen Portnoy joins us live on the KOMO Newsline.
5 young men from Cleveland, and they're the Cleveland vicinity. The youngest was 20, the oldest was 35, and they are charged with plotting to blow up a very scenic bridge in the Cuyahoga Valley National Park.
KOMO's Tracy Ellis is also downtown today, and he's joining us live. What have you found out, Tracy?
What people should be looking at right now here are the new Seahawks uniforms in the window. Instead, they're looking at work being done to broken windows. I spoke to this woman who doesn't see the point of all of this.
I don't really know what their main goal is. They seem to have like 10.
KOMO's Ryan Harris has that part of our coverage.
Some are there trying to go about their business, like this woman who tells us what's happening makes no sense.
I don't really know what their main goal is. They seem to have like 10.
As for the mood downtown,
I think people are frustrated and they're young and they don't know how to express it, and this is the way they feel like they can do it.
she and her friend believe the police overreacted.
It's intimidating. Yeah, it's intimidation.
Yeah, and it's a little sad. It deters like a lot of people who just want to come down with their kids and be involved with utilizing our First Amendment right, you know.
Still others were frustrated because they say police stood by while protesters smashed windows and damaged property. One nearby business owner says her business hasn't been affected up or down. Ryan Harris, KOMO News Radio.
KOMO 4's Jamie Lynn is joining us live. Jamie?
What was interesting, though, just a few moments ago, my truck op, Frank, he's been here all day. He turned to me and he said, I've covered a lot of protests, and I'm most apprehensive about this one.
Joining us now on the KOMO Newsline is KOMO 4 reporter Joel Moreno. He's been downtown all day and has seen firsthand some of the violence this afternoon. Tell us what you did see, Joel.
Well, actually, came under fire ourselves when we first joined that march. It had initiated at Westlake Park, and we could tell right away that there was a fringe element. There was a large group dressed in black in the center of the parade. And then we started hearing the window pane shatter in front of like bank storefronts. Saw Wells Fargo taken out. They were stopping cars, pounding on cars. Drivers were in a panic, wondering what they could do as they, crowd converged around them, beating on the automobiles. The crowd of rioters, they had resorted to using flares or some kind of firebomb device at that point. They were smashing in windows, tossing in the flares, and really wreaking havoc. What we noticed, though, is that every time, as soon as they'd hit a place, they'd move on. It was like these quick strikes, and then they'd move on before police were catching up.
And we are just hearing just now, Herb, from Tom Glasgow, who was out with this group of protesters that are just leaving Seattle Center, that Seattle police are indeed starting to confiscate some of these long flagpole-like things as per the mayor's order. Joining us now on the KOMO Newsline is Seattle City Councilman Bruce Harrell, who heads the Public Safety Committee. Councilman, what do you make of how, first of all, Seattle police handled things this afternoon and of the mayor's declaration?
Any property damage is incredibly bad damage downtown. So to the extent we could have confiscated weapons, could have gotten better intel, could have made arrests more aggressively, all this is what we could have done better.
KOMO 4's Lindsay Cohen has more.
A number of protesters smashing out glass, smashing out windows, the doors. They threw paint, even lit some things on fire. And that was the beginning of a violent string of events today.
Well, your calls are absolutely pouring into the KOMO talk line. Nobody wants to see people's First Amendment rights taken away. But so far, every caller has said their priority should be protecting the streets.
I think it's ridiculous that they tear up the downtown corridor, then we all have to pay for it. I think everybody's kind of sick and tired of this random violence. They could do it peacefully, and people wouldn't be so turned off by it.
If they want to act like a group, then they can pay the damn fines like a group, and all the people's damages, hold them all responsible. Anybody dressed in black, round their asses up.
We're joined live again by KOMO 4's John Humbert. John, where are you right now?
I am standing literally 4 feet away from the line, the phalanx of officers that are using their bikes right now to push people toward Westlake. Tensions are definitely the highest they've been. We followed this line of officers down from Pike Place Market, and it was very eerie standing there looking at this line of dark-clad officers with the famous Pike Place Market sign. And there's a bit more pushing and shoving right now, eating people, pushing them back onto the sidewalk.
Joining us live on the KOMO Newsline once again is our Tom Glasgow. Where are you now, Tom?
Sorry about some of the language you may be hearing in the background as the police are now trying to disperse this crowd. Batons are being used right now, pushing one of the protesters back. So this could turn into a very ugly situation. Now we've got either a pepper spray being used on one of the protesters who's now holding his arms out.
Well, someone who wasn't wearing a tear gas mask today was KOMO 4's John DeCeplo. We got a little taste of that tear gas this afternoon covering the story, and John is joining us live now on the KOMO Newsline. How you doing?
Oh, Dan, I got to be honest with you. That stuff actually works, and it works really well. It's got me dead in my tracks. We were actually at the corner of First and Pike when it looked like an officer was trying to remove one of those flags that we had talked about from one of the protesters. The protester pushed the officer back, and as soon as he did that, all heck broke loose. Officers grabbed that person, arrested him. When they did so, every protester jumped in to try and save that one protester, and when that happened, I turned around, and I kid you not, I saw at least 10 officers drop their shields, batons came out, and all heck broke loose in a matter of 2 seconds. Things escalated very, very quickly. While that was going on, another person jumped in to try and strike the officer. When that happened, that's when the pepper spray came out. The officer just whipped it out, started spraying left and right, and yours truly was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I got tagged on the side of my head and in my left eye, and it absolutely dropped me to my feet. It hurts and it burns.
KOMONews.com's Travis Mayfield has been immersed in the protest today, and he never left his desk. It's all because of social media.
That's right.
Fascinating.
It is fascinating. The universe we live in just totally changed because of social media. And one of the things I actually just left my desk doing, I was watching one of the protesters themselves. They were providing a live video stream from their iPhone in the midst of the protests that are right outside of the Hard Rock Cafe.
Joining us now live on the KOMO Newsline is KOMO 4's Denise Whitaker, who's right with the protesters, or demonstrators, I should say.
Absolutely. And right now, I would say that the numbers have swollen to about 1,000 or so here. These people are coming together. They are for workers' rights. A big part of their message today is they want workers to have rights.
KOMO 4's Joel Moreno was in the thick of things today and has this report on the mayhem he experienced.
Now, I am not used to being a target when I cover news stories, but anarchists essentially hijacked this day of demonstrations. I still have red paint in my hair and all over my clothes from when someone lobbed a paint bomb at us.
We have KOMO 4's Theron Zahn back with us. We have an update. Theron, what's going on?
Yeah, we have a breaking update for you here. We're just all these protesters here at Westlake Center are now moving southbound. They tell me that they're going to be meeting up with that immigration rally, the story you were just hearing about. They want to converge. So, again, all of those thousands of people that are here at Westlake Center are now moving south down 4th Avenue and then up, I believe, Pike or Pine Street, hoping to meet up with the immigration rally. So this could get kind of dicey here as police are following the protesters as they leave Westlake Center as they head towards that immigration rally.
And, Hen, I understand it takes a lot to cover a protest and violence that goes on this long. You ran out of cell phone battery. You're borrowing cell phones so you can do these reports for us today?
I did. I've had to borrow 2 cell phones so far. At the moment, I am still up. I've gotten about 10% back on my phone, but it is just about to die. It just gave me the alert while I was on the air with you, so I'm going to need to plug back in here in a few moments. But that's what happens when you're out all day using a smartphone.
Note to self, extra battery.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Hannah.